Okay, we we are up to Perkei Gimel Mishnah. By me, it's Mishnah Tes. Maybe in your versions, it might be Mishnah Yud. Rabbi Chanina, then Dois Omer. Which Mishnah? Yud Aleph. Rabbi Chanina ben Dois Omer. Rabbi Chanina says, "Kol sheyiras chet oy kodemas lechachmasa chachmasa miskayemas." Whoever's fear of sin, yiras chet oy, fear of his sin, precedes his chachma, his knowledge. His chachma is miskayim, so his knowledge is going to be sustainable. Whoever's chachma precedes his fear of the fear of his sin, as ein chachma miskayim. So that chachma will not be miskayim. So the Rabbeinu Yonah has two mahalchim to explain this. He has, what does it mean? If my fear of sin is before my knowledge, so my knowledge is going to be sustainable, and if not, it won't be. So Dr. Rabbeinu Yonah, that this is referring to his shtadlus. He says, if a person is trying to acquire chacham because he wants, because of his yirah shemayim, he wants to keep the mitzvahs, he feels he has a need to keep the mitzvahs, his chachmas is going to be sustainable. But if it's for him, it's just like a philosophy, it's not lemaisa, it's not really relevant to him, he's not going to remember it. It's those halachas that I know, I feel I need to keep, I have to keep, therefore all of a sudden it becomes very relevant. When a person's in medical school, right, so he knows that what he's learning, what he's learning, he's going to need later in life. So therefore one pays attention. What I feel is relevant to me, I need to know, so then I'm going to learn it very well. Here also, if a person has yiras chet, he realizes he must keep the mitzvahs, all of a sudden it's very important to know. And if for him it's just a philosophy, he's not really going to remember it. I once had a relative who was having stomach issues for a period of time. So all these halachas that are all these technical halachas in like Siman Ayin, in the Samichs, in Orach Chayim, about when you could stop, if you take a tefillin and put it back on, when you can make a bracha, it was very relevant to him. And to this day, he's a buck in all these halachas. Whereas for us, it's hard to remember exactly because these things aren't so relevant. There's a halach in Shulchan Aruch, we discussed this, George. Halach in Shulchan Aruch about what happens if you have 9 people who daven b'yechidus, all together in a room, and then a 10th person didn't daven yet walks in. Right? What do you do then? Can you have some sort of tefillah b'tzibur? So I never knew that halach. I went through this in Shulchan Aruch a number of times, but never really. Once I was in that situation where I had 9 people who already davened b'yechidus, the 10th guy walks in, it became relevant. So then once you learn it after it's relevant, all of a sudden you remember it much longer. I was once in shul, and the guy got up for the aliyah, and he made Ashenas Lanu Torah Semis first. Like no one knew what to do, right? So what's the luck in that case? He finished the bracha. He finished Ashenas Lanu Torah Semis. Finished the bracha. Right, the Gabbai knows. The Gabbai knows. Mamash, being a Gabbai is it's kedai. Mamash become a baki in halacha. So that's the halacha. If you have you seen that? You've seen it. Okay. So once that happened, and it bothered me that myself and others, no one knew. I looked it up. I haven't forgotten to this day.
So you just add on Asher bracha
at the end. That's the bracha achronim. That's the bracha. That's the after bracha. Yeah. So what the guy did was he saw everyone stopped him. He got nervous. He just said Asher bracha bon. Okay, once he did that, then he said Shenas Lanu at the end. But that was the wrong thing to do, but no one knew. So once you feel, I see that it might happen again, it's relevant, all of a sudden, a person remembers it. That's the first mahalach. So yiras chet has to precede, has to come before his chachma. What's motivating me to learn the chachma, and like we said before, this applies to any chachma. What's motivating me to learn the chachma is that I feel I need to know this. It's relevant to me, then I'll remember it. If it's just philosophy in the air, so then I'm not going to know it as well. The Chazoin Ish, when he learned the sugya, he learned every sugya as if someone was coming to ask him the shayla. At the end of the sugya, that's what he had he pretended to have a whole case in his mind of someone coming to him. What's the luck in this case? And that's how it's one of the ways that he was able to be successful. That's the first mahalach that the Rabbeinu Yonah says. The second mahalach, he says, he says this. A person's yiras chet comes before his chacham is as follows. First he has fear of sin, he doesn't sin. Then he learns the halachas and he sees what he can do and what he can't do, and it makes him happy because he's doing the right thing. A person whose chachma comes first is used to sinning. First he learns the chachma, he's used to doing averos, he's learning chachma, and then his yiras chet comes afterwards that he resents the halacha because it's making him stop from doing what he wants to do. So the idea is to have the yiras chet come first, and then as he learns, it's ma'asher him, it makes him feel rich, he knows what he's doing now, certain things are mutter. Like we say, whenever you learn the halachas of basa b'chalav, you realize how much is mutter. Everything you thought was aser, right? Pesach also, right? Becomes mutter. What's the halacha? Let's say your wife says, "Oh my gosh, I realized that the soup I'm about to serve at the Pesach Seder, right? I made in our chametz dik. It was already, we had the Pesach stuff out already, but I used the chametz dik pot to make. I made this stuff on last week. I made the soup for this. About to serve the soup for the Seder. I made it in a chametz dik pot, and before Pesach I put it into the plastic containers and I heated it up in a Pesach dik kli. Now, what do? Can I serve the soup? It's mutter. If the kli is an ein ben yoma, you haven't used the kli for chametz in 24 hours, and it was taken out of the chametz dik kli before Pesach, you can serve that lechatchila on Pesach.
It happened to my mother, so I remember this.
That's I remember. We did not rehearse this. It happened.
Yeah, before Pesach, she realized she used the chametz dik pot. She called her up, and he's like, "The soup's mutter."
The soup's mutter. So imagine like tell your wife that it's not going to go over well, but that's.
I have a mother killed last show.
Yeah.
I won't say who it was, but somebody close to me, where she unfortunately got the wrong soup from Lick's or the Grill, whatever it was, and she at the Seder served the soup in Pesadika pots was cooked and Pesadika bowls, but the soup itself was barley soup, was chametz gum.
Wow.
So luckily, before I ate it, we realized it. But the question is, what do you do with that chametz? So I threw it in the toilet.
Right.
But the question is, what do you do with the chametz? And then the bigger issue is those bowls, those kalim, are they now? Is it chametz shavar Pesach after Pesach? Are they asur legamrei forever? Are they because?
Or can you kasher them? It depends what it was. It's probably like Karel or like China.
Right,
or something.
you couldn't kasher. But the question is,
Shiur, whatever.
Right. But that was a more difficult
yeah,
question.
that's a definitely more difficult question.
And really, literally, what do you do with chametz? You're not supposed to destroy the chametz on Pesach.
Right. So the funny thing is, the letter of the law, you're supposed to take another big pot and just put it over that. Leave it on the table.
But how do you?
Because chametz is muktzah, right?
Right.
It was the first day or second day?
This is the first
The
Seder.
first day.
You could do it right.
Exactly. I'm not.
Thank God I wasn't there.
It'll never happen again, hopefully, but you know for next time. That's So those are the two mahalchim in the Rabbeinu Yonah.
When you became mashgiach.
At the same, we should rent them out. We should $50 an hour. You can get them. If I'm not mistaken, it's the Gra or the Maharal. I'm not sure which one makes the following dig in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, "Kol sheyiras chet oy," right, which means the fear of his sin. L'cha'oira, the Mishnah should have said, "Kol yirasei min hachet," his fear of sin, not fear of his sin. Yiras chet oy is fear of his sin. Yirasei min hachet would be his fear of sin. So either the Gra or the Maharal says that. The Mishnah is referring to the following: every person has aveiros that speak to them more than others. Right? Certain people like fancy clothing and could be shatnez would be an issue. Certain people like to eat, so food is a big. Other people, food doesn't talk to them. So a person has to identify what is the chait that they're more prone to, that they're wired to actually run after. Some people love cheeseburgers, and it says stay away from that. Each person has to make for themselves gedarim that relate to their sin. And if I would do what you're doing, for me it'd be crazy. And if you do what I'm doing, for you that'd be crazy. Each person, like we spoke out in Mesilas Yesharim, a tzaddik is the person who keeps the Shulchan Aruch. None of us can light fires on Shabbos or eat barley soup on Pesach. No one can do that, right? But there are certain, a chassid is someone who looks into the Torah more and sees, okay, what am I more prone to do? I make my own personal Shulchan Aruch, the chumras that I need to make sure I don't sin. That's what the Mishnah is talking about. The fear of his sin. I have to know myself. Rav brings this in the Chelik and Al Yishor and Das Atzmin, knowing oneself. The person has to know himself and see which Averos talk to him and make sure he guards himself from those Averos. That's Yiras Chet Oy, the fear of his sin. Everyone has their sin that they're more prone to transgress. The Mishnah continues. He would say, this is Mechini ben Doisa, Kol Shemaisem Ruv Mechachmasai, Chachmasim is Chayemis. Whoever's actions are more than their Chachma, they know X amount, they're doing X plus Y. I mean, they're doing more than they know, which seems to be impossible. But if his Maisim are Meruba Mechachmasai, Chachmasim is Chayemis. V'kol shechachmasim meruba mimaisim, whoever's chachma is greater than his maisim, ein chachmasim miskayemis. So he knows more than he does, his chachma is not miskayemis. The Rabbeinu Yonah learns that al derech nasev v'nishma. When a person is coming to the religion for the first time, or a bachur realizes, okay, I want to be more medaptic in mitzvahs, he doesn't know what to do. Right? But if a person is makabel, whatever I'm told to do, whatever the halacha is, I'm going to do. So I was just makabel, keep all the halachas. So my maisim are meruba mechachma. I know very little, but I have desire to keep everything. His chachma is mischayemis. With that kabbalah, that acceptance that I'm going to do everything, his chachma is mischayemis. A person is not like that. He knows lies, he's not keeping it, then his chachma will not be mischayemis. So in order for the chachma to stay, it's not about kishron, it's not about how smart a person is. If there's a desire to know, it's important to him, so he's going to remember. That's the common denominator between the two parts of this Mishnah. Let's see the next Mishnah, Mishnah Yud. Hu haya omer, he would say, Kol shiruach habriyas noiche heimeno, ruach hamakom noiche heimeno. Whoever, the ruach habriyas, whoever is liked by people, it's, the ruach habriyas is noiche heimeno, that they like him, they're happy with him, ruach hamakom noiche heimeno. V'chol she'ein ruach habriyas noiche heimeno, ein ruach hamakom noiche heimeno. So whoever does not get along with people, it's a litmus test to see if a Kadosh Baruch Hu likes it. Now it depends. If the guy's the life of the party and he's speaking Lashon Hara and everyone loves him, so that's not what we're talking about here, obviously. But it is important. A Jew does not live on an island. A Jew is part of a community. A Jew has to be Ma'uriv Mabrius, has to be liked by people, and that's a litmus test to know that a Kadosh Baruch Hu likes him as well. The Rabbeinu Yonah says, this is referring to someone, Ratzul Laimar, Misha Masari Matana Na'im Abrius, a person whose business dealings are pleasant with people. V'kula makirin ki be'amuna im habriyas. Everyone recognizes that he deals honestly in business, like it says in the Gemara in Yonah, Kol Talmud shekar v'shoyne, any Talmud Chacham who learns Chumash and he learns Mishnayos and Gemara, v'noisen be'amuna im habriyas, and he's a good, fair, honest businessman. Ma habriyas omros alav. What do people say about him? Ashrei Ploini, praiseworthy is Ploini shalama Torah, that learned Torah. Meaning, just the fact he learns Torah is not going to get the average person to say, wow, he's so great. He learns Torah and he's honest in business. Ashrei Ploni, Ashrei Ploni Shalom Torah, Ashrei Aviv, Ashrei Imay. Praise his mother and his father. Shalom Du, they taught him Torah. And that's what this Mishnah is talking about. The Ruach HaBriyas is Noiche Hemenu in the business world. The Ruach HaMakom also is Noiche Hemenu. As we spoke about yesterday in Shalosh Shudas. Yaakov HaTzadik, the Rambam says in the end of Hilchos Schirus, when describing how honest Yaakov was in the face of his employer / father-in-law, Lavan, who was extremely dishonest, the Rambam calls Yaakov HaTzadik, and he uses Yaakov as an example of how an employee has to treat his employer, has to treat his job. But kol koicha, he has to work with all his koichas, even if the employer is not being fair. The employee's obligation is to do as much as he can, do the best he can for the business. Yaakov HaTzadik says, the Rabbeinu Yonah, the same idea in this Mishnah, that if a person deals honestly in business, then it's Ruach HaMakom Noiche Hemenu. It seems like that's the place where the Jew interacts with the secular world, and that's how he's defined. He's not defined per se by his etiquette and by his midas per se, his midas, but in the context of how he deals in business. Even though we were complimented last night by being cut for a businessman, I think. But right? I think he said something about like you're brutal. But right? But the Maisa, the Mishnah, Rabbeinu Yonah is saying, for the average person out there, when they see that a Jew deals in business honestly, that is the biggest Kiddush Hashem. Then the person recognizes, wow, Ashrei, this person who learns Torah. It's interesting that in the business world it comes out how chashuv the Torah is. So it's a chizuk for us all as we leave the base medrash to make sure that we are fulfilling this Mishnah.
Yeah.